guys? This is Christian Metalhead Brotherhood. Welcome to the Christian Metalhead Show. I am Andrew, your host. Or you guys can call me AJ if you want. Last week I talked about my story, how I got into playing guitar and into music and metal music more importantly. And this week I thought I'd give you my background story of my Christian walk and how I became a Christian and how my faith kind of became my own, because I kind of just grew up as a Christian. But this is my story part 2. So basically I grew up in a Christian home in like a hardcore Christian American family, kind of like the Duck Dynasty guys, like hardcore hunting, fishing, all American guns, Christian family basically. I became a Christian at a fairly young age and accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior. I don't really remember how old I was whenever it happened. I just remember that I'm pretty sure it was at like a church summer, like vacation Bible school program or something. And I think a pastor did like a altar call. And I'm pretty sure that's whenever I first accepted Christ as my Savior. I don't really remember what age. I feel like it was around like 8 or something. I don't really know. But fairly young age, and not long after I was baptized too. Just a side note, I was unbaptized because you have to be baptized to be saved. I don't believe that. I believe I was baptized to show that I was saved. But I became a Christian at a fairly young age. I grew up in a Christian home. It's not to say that there wasn't like any kind of struggle and stuff like that. I went through plenty of terrible things growing up. Most of my childhood, I went to church, I went to Sunday school, I went to like Awana, like youth group stuff, and when I first started going to school, I went to a Christian school until like 4th grade. Then I was homeschooled the rest of my schooling, and I was, basically a Christian school. Same thing basically. I always had to do Bible. It was like a subject in my school, Bible class and stuff like that. So I grew up with a pretty good basis of like, and understanding knowledge of the Bible. But like just growing up, I always believed it, and I had a good relationship with God. And there were several points in my life and in my childhood where all I knew how to do was to pray whenever I was like really hurting or something bad was happening. That's all I really knew how to do, so that's what I did. But like most of my childhood, I kind of just believed what I was told. I didn't really question it, and then whenever I got older, between like 13 or 16 years old, I don't really remember. It was kind of a similar time when I was telling you guys when I first got into metal. It was kind of just a little bit before that, and I was questioning my faith a lot, and I was questioning my faith a lot because it was like never really, at that point it had never really become my own faith. I mean, it kind of had, because, like I said several times, whenever all I knew how to do was to pray, whenever like terrible things were going on, and that helped me really develop a close relationship with God. But kind of somewhere along the way, whenever I got older, I kind of lost that and just got into more of the following rules and trying to, be a good person and stuff like that, and kind of just lost that relationship. And like my faith wasn't really my own at that point. It was more just to, do what people expected of me and stuff like that. And but yeah, like at this point in life, I was questioning my faith a lot, and honestly, I think it's a good thing for us to question that, because at that point, it became my own faith. I'll tell you kind of more behind it first. I guess when I got older, I got more perceptive, and I saw that people were, they were completely different in the church building than they were whenever I'd see them in real life. And that kind of just I don't know, I was struggling because of that. As Christians, we shouldn't like let other people's walk affect our own. Like we want to help them, but we shouldn't let them, affect us. But part of the thing was, these people, like this church I grew up in, they taught me to love and seek God and to give God everything I got, to seek Him, to seek to glorify Him with the gifts He has given me, because of my certain gifts and my skill set and, the kind of music I was into, I was told that I couldn't. And that's, kind of the main reason that I was struggling. It's kind of at that age where I was getting really good at guitar, but, my music was, and my style was like heavy rock and, getting into that point of the metal stuff, and I was told that I couldn't, which sucked. What's cool is eventually, I did start playing in church, and I did, every now and then throw in some kind of fun stuff to try and, make things funner. Now people miss that since I stopped playing in church, and that's awesome. And I love the church that I went to. It was just at that point in life, I was really struggling with those things. I said, like, I was, really wanting to serve, but because, like, I didn't do, hymnals or, slow songs or stuff like that, or acoustic guitar, that, like, I was told that, you can't do that kind of music in church. And it just really brought me down and made me question my faith, and I was just like, who are they to tell me that I can't do that whenever that's what they taught me my entire life growing up? There are just several instances where I was struggling and I was trying to get help, and I never really got the help I needed from people whenever I would try and seek help. Or I had questions and I was questioning my faith. I kind of kept it hidden from everyone, but I would try asking questions and, asking for help, and I was kind of just left with more questions. And, like I said, as I was, growing as a musician, I was wanting to use that to glorify God like I was taught to. And it honestly, at that point, it wasn't really a heart thing. It was more like feel like I have to thing. The way I was raised and to use my gift to glorify God, is kind of feel like that it's what I should do. And it wasn't really like I want to do that like it is now. Like I love doing this and I want to do this the rest of my life. And yeah, like whenever I started pursuing this calling and, started building this ministry, like the Christian Metalhead Brotherhood, whenever I felt the calling to start building, a ministry based around Christian metal and, building a career off that as a musician. And a lot of people that, raised me to seek God no matter what the odds were, and, no matter what it was they called you to do, those people told me I couldn't do it, and that was very discouraging to my faith as well, and that's one reason I was still questioning it a lot. Like whenever I chose to start following the path that God had called me to, these people laughed at me and, mocked me and criticized me and told me that I couldn't. So that's when I just really even began questioning my faith even more. And, it didn't help that I was, my motivation and my goals for doing it were more to please these people than it was to, follow God's path. I had intentions, I had good intentions. I wanted to follow what God called me. But, it was more focused on trying to, impress people and, do like what they taught me to do at that point. I questioned my faith many times, but I would always come to the same conclusion that, God loves me. It's not really about, the people, the Christians, fake Christians, and all the hypocritical people. It wasn't really about them. Like, it was, Christianity is not about that. It's about a relationship with God. And, it's sad because so many people leave Christianity because of hypocritical Christians and all that, whenever, that's, they're clearly not even really in a walk with God, and they're not even Christians. They're more just, religious people and, religious organizations at that point. They're not churches, they're just religious organizations. And like I said, I would always come to the same conclusion that I am loved by God. Like, I was created for a purpose, and He is the one that, like, gives me life. At a certain point in my life when I had so much hatred and anger for these people, I was like wanting to walk away from my faith just because of them, not really because of anything that God did. You know, it was because of like all this anger and all this hatred for the, like what had happened to me from like because of like people that claim to be God's people. At this point, I was trying to find some way to disprove my belief in God and to just some reason to walk away basically because at that point I was in a lot of pain over the things that people did and said in the way that they treated me. I'm not a snowflake, you guys know that. I'm sure you guys know that it takes a lot to bring me down, and just sometimes it was just unrelenting and people would just really bring me down, and I had a lot of low points where I questioned my faith and questioned if my life had purpose. But everything I searched for, like nothing would make sense. Some Christians that became atheists say that the evidence was overwhelming and stuff like that. That's a bunch of bull crap. It's easy to see that they just gave up. Even me being at that point, wanting to just give up on my faith and all the anger and hatred I had for those people, I still couldn't find any, way to disprove the existence of God. And, even though at that point I was kind of just wanting to. And the excuse that evolution created me and I'm just a product of chance was the most bullcrap excuse I had ever heard. Even at the point where I wanted to walk away from my faith and I was searching for ways and reasons to walk away, it was still the most bullcrap excuse I have ever heard. It is the saddest excuse. And it is very sad that people, that is what our entire science is based off of, and that, the science of creation was kicked out of our schools and, replaced with that bullcrap. Because even at a point in my life where I wanted to walk away and I wanted to believe it as much as I wanted to, it was still a bunch of bullcrap and stupid. Any books that I read, like Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion, all that I read, they were just people who hated Christianity and hated God and, looked for any reason they could to disprove it and, go to lengths that are just ridiculous to try and disprove it. And even at the point, like I said several times, where I didn't want to believe anymore, I still found it, the saddest excuses I had ever heard and the most biased opinions. These people, they hated religion, they hated Christianity, they hated God, and you can clearly see that. Even then, I could not find no legitimate reason that there is no God. I never found anything that seemed legitimate to me, even though I wanted to. And the only reason that I wanted to just walk away was because I didn't want to deal with people anymore. I didn't want to deal with the people in church anymore. I didn't want to deal with the fakeness anymore. And just because of my hatred of hypocritical and judgmental Christians, it literally had nothing to do with God. And that's pretty much like mostly the case with people that end up walking away from the faith. Even like kind of what happened with Under Oath, and I feel like that's kind of just what happened with that band, and saying it was because of like how people treated them. That has nothing to do with God or Christianity at all. That is just Christians, not even Christians. Those are people, those are religious people, that are fake and claim to be followers of a loving God, but when they show no action to that, when they show nothing, similar to the God that they claim to follow, do you really think that they are? Like, that was why I was questioning my faith, but I look back now, and that is the most ridiculous reason to leave your faith in Christianity I have ever heard. It had nothing to do with God. Just at some point I had realized that. It just kind of clicked, like, these people have nothing to do with God. They may claim to be Christians, but they literally have nothing to do with God outside of this building. and it just at some point it just clicked, and that at that point my faith started becoming my own, and also at that point I got into the Christian metal scene. It was like a life-changing experience whenever I first heard For Today and got into Christian metal, and getting into the Christian metal scene and all those passionate band members. I've realized that like true Christians, they aren't that way. They represent the God that they believe in. They're loving and inspiring, and they're not perfect. No Christian is. That's not what a Christian is. A Christian is just a person. The only difference between a Christian and another person is one's saved, one's not. That's what my pastor is like before. All the difference really is accepting that you're sinful and that you need forgiven, and asking for forgiveness and accepting it, and accepting Jesus, price that he paid for you. That's the only difference between Christians and everyone else. One's saved, one's not, and you can become saved, too, just so easily. After that, we want to just walk in the light and do what Christ wants us to do and to follow his ways. We fall away, but if we truly accepted him into our lives and asked for forgiveness for our sins and repented, then we're on the right path. But anyways, like I said, seeing the Christian metal bands and their love for God and their love for their brothers and sisters and their love for all the people that weren't Christians at their concerts and everything. One thing that they always taught, like the band Phineas, when I saw them live, they were like, there's one thing you need to know, that you are all loved. And that's just awesome. Despite all the things you've done, you are loved. It was crazy, and it just helped me realize that that's what a Christian is. One who proclaims the God that they believe in, and follows what he did. But the one thing was just how they loved each other, and how they loved their fans, and how they loved God. And you could see that easily, and that's kind of what helped start rebuilding my faith and making it my own. I figured out that a lot of these guys, as popular as they may be, and as long as they may have been Christians walking in the faith, they still had all the same questions that I had been asking for a long time. And a lot of their songs, you could see that they write about their struggles in their lyrics, and the questions that they struggle with, but they always had the same conclusion. But they always concluded that despite all their questions and their doubts and their fears, that they would hold their ground and stand in faith. As it was the devil that was the enemy, and he is the one that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's kind of something that evaded me for the longest time. Many Christians, we don't even really acknowledge the existence of the devil. He needs to be acknowledged. He's an enemy and he's a threat. He is the threat. He is our enemy, not our people. Not the people of this world. I think just helping me recognize that, also helped my faith grow. The devil is like the true enemy. The devil, influences people, but people still make their choice. It was very eye-opening and encouraging. It helped me remember how God does nothing but love and sacrifice for us. He sacrificed his life for us, and leaving the faith of Christianity just because of other people, just all the more just made no sense to me the more that I was realizing this. But God gives love, he gives forgiveness, and he gives hope beyond this life. He gives us hope in this life that, despite all the storms we go through, that he's going to be there, and that, there's going to be, that the storm will eventually pass, and, one day, all the pain, all the tears, all the suffering will pass away. And that kind of just revitalized my soul, and just being awakened to that hope that I had, and that why I first became a Christian was because of that hope. It wasn't because of what people told me. It was because of God. And that's why I became a Christian. And I realized that no matter how hard I try, I cannot disprove the existence of God. But like for me, I just came to a point where there was no denying it, and I don't want that for any of you guys, and I don't want that for any of my family members. I don't want that for any people I love, and that's why I'm a Christian, and I profess this faith that God created us all, and He loves us all, and He gave us the choice to choose whether to worship Him or to turn away from Him, and we chose to turn away from Him. We paid the penalty for our price, that He in His love and forgiveness came and saved us, and gave us a way back to Him. Despite us turning away from Him, when He gave us the choice. Love cannot be forced. That is the whole reason why God gave us free will when He created us. Is He cannot force love, and it has to be chose. It has to be a choice, and He gave us a choice, and mankind chose to turn away from Him, and He still made a way for us, and that is why I'm a Christian. God is a loving God, and people who don't represent that are clearly not who they say they are, and I'm not going to let people like that, dictate what I believe and how I live, and make me turn away from my faith in God, and and my hope and my joy. I'm not going to let them take that away from me just because of the way that they are acting and how they treat me. They're not going to steal my joy, and they're not going to steal my faith or my hope. And that's the saddest excuse to say for leaving the Christian faith is because of hypocrites and judgmental Christians. That's the saddest excuse. Christianity is not about other Christians. It is about God and His love for you. And I just came to that point in my life, and that is when my faith became my own. I am no brainwashed Christian like most people say Christians are. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Christianity and the God we believe in, we profess, our God is a God of love and forgiveness, and we profess a faith of love and forgiveness. Obviously, if you see people that are not representing that, then they are not Christians, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be as Christians. And a lot of people, like on the evangelistic TV shows and stuff, they're so fake, and they're all about manipulating people into giving money. They're obviously not Christians. Why? I understand that people don't know much about Christianity, and that's how some people see Christianity is like that. But those people obviously do not represent the God that we profess. We profess a faith of love and forgiveness and hope, and those people are professing nothing but giving money to them. And I think that's how a lot of people see Christianity, just because they don't really know how it actually is. This is a journey of how my faith became my own, and it was a long, rough journey. God is not like those hypocritical fake people. They do not represent the God they claim to believe. I just came to a point where I was like, what does it matter what other people think? These and fake and insecure people at that. Why would I let them, make me walk away from my faith and my joy, and to steal that away from me just because of how they treated me? People will be people. I'm not going to let them make me walk away. For every Christian out there, you just got to get to a point where you don't care what other people think anymore. A lot of people stereotype Christians into being, these sick, twisted people that manipulate people into giving them money and crap like that, or just being very judgmental and self-righteous. And the majority of Christians are not like that. But people think they are, so you just gotta get to a point where you just don't care anymore, because you're always gonna have to deal with people like that. Don't let it cause you to turn away from your faith. It's not about what other people think about you, it is about what God thinks about you. In this Christian Metalhead show. And I hope that my story was inspiring to you guys and helped you guys out. And I'll see you guys in the next Christian Metalhead show. Stay Christian metal forever.